Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel, and welcome back to the first time watching review series where we watch films for the first time and review them. Since it is October now, we are diving into the spooky season and, getting ourselves ready for Halloween. I thought I would bring a slasher horror franchise to the first time watching review series to, change up a bit. And what better one to do than Friday the 13th, which I have up here. So I have actually the first 10 films. I've got this and Jason Goes to Hell and Jason X on physical media in my Blu-ray collection, and yeah, this is a nice 8-pack set of them all. And we're going to be starting the franchise today, so it's going to be I'm very excited. It's going to be very exciting because I've always loved Friday the 13th. It looks really, really good, and Jason Voorhees is one of my favourite horror villains after Ghostface probably, so yeah, really, really cool. But yeah, of course, in today's video we're going to be watching Friday the 13th, released in 1980. It's the original one, it's the one that started it all, but yeah, let's quickly read the description. So it says, the film that started it all. Unwary campers ignore the locals' warnings, and one by one they find out how unlucky Friday the 13th can be. So an interesting fact about this film as well, I'm sure most of you that are slasher horror fans already know that, or this, but it wasn't actually Jason that's the killer in this first film. It was actually his mother, Pamela Voorhees. Jason didn't appear until part 2. Oh, he's in it for like a couple of seconds as a kid, but he's not actually the main killer. But yeah, really excited to watch this. So yeah, as always, enough rambling from me. Let's just get this in the player. So let's just quickly get this out of the slipcover and pop this open. So here is the disc. We have Friday the 13th, 1980. Let's just pop this down in the player. And wait for it to load. And just like that, we already dived straight into the film. I didn't actually realise there wasn't a pop-up menu beforehand where you could just press play. Actually, as soon as you pop the disc in, it actually goes straight into the film. You pop it in and it goes right into it, so that's pretty interesting. But I had to pause there so I could see. So there's actually the pop-up menu. It's really, really small. It literally just has languages, scene selections, and special features, but that's alright. The main thing is the film. So anyway, the film's already started. And as always, of course, I'm going to watch the film, press play, and I'll see you after the film.
I've had this dream. I'm in a thunderstorm, and it's raining really hard. It sounds like pebbles when it hits the ground. I try to block out the sound with my hands, only it doesn't work. It just keeps getting louder and louder. Then the rain turns to blood.
It's just a dream.
Are you crazy?
We ain't gonna stand for no weirdness out here.
Hello?
Help me!
Did you know that a young boy drowned here?
Help me!
His name was Jason, and today is his birthday.
Help me!
This place is cursed. You're doomed if you stay here.
Help me! It's not funny anymore! Not funny at all! They're both dead. And he's still there.
So, just finished watching Friday the 13th, and yeah, it was actually pretty good. I actually did enjoy it. There were some really nice kills in the film. Some like classic slasher material with teenagers, and then brutal kills, stalker, killer, but yeah, it was actually pretty good. It took me by surprise. Actually, I did quite enjoy it. I wasn't expecting much from the first film, especially with Jason. I was like, oh, because Jason's not going to be in it, it's not going to be as good. Well, no, it's actually pretty decent, this film, even without Jason. So yeah, but I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I'll talk about it more in the review. So my reactions and initial thoughts after Friday the 13th were quite positive, to say the least, and yeah, I'm still sticking by that. It actually was a really decent slasher film, and that is a solid start to the franchise overall, beginning that iconic Friday the 13th series. and it just basically set the ground and foundation and basis for everything to come. It's always, Camp Crystal Lake, it's always a killer, it's always camp counselors and teenagers. That is basically and I mean the Friday the 13th formula. Like, that is how it goes in the franchise and how it works with each film. Until maybe I'd say the 8th or 7th one, that's when things start to become a wee bit different. But for the earlier films, it stuck by the same rules and were pretty much the same in each film, only with basically Jason getting stronger and stronger each film. It introduces us to the story of Jason Voorhees and his infamous drowning at Camp Crystal Lake, and that's how the film franchise basically goes from there. It's just self-explanatory. It just kind of unfolds from there. The actual plot of this film, though, is pretty decent actually. Like, I didn't mind it. It was just the first one to show Camp Crystal Lake. It gave us the environment and what it was like, and then showed some camp counselors or teenagers just there, being pretty stubborn and stupid, and then slowly getting killed off one by one by a very scary killer. In this case, in this first film, Pamela Voorhees, Jason's mum. And whilst not even the main killer directly in this film, Jason's presence is still felt and when mentioned brings a feeling of unease. It's like, I don't know how he managed to do that, but like, it's still pretty chilling when you hear his name. You still kind of feel like he's there at the same time when he's not, if that makes sense. It's just like that legend and like that kind of, tale of something, I guess, of him being there. It's like he's watching everything happen at Camp Crystal Lake because that's basically his home, his place of death. So yeah, anyway, but I liked how much of the kills in this film are taken from the killer's perspective. It's mainly POV shots actually. It's just like the camera's following after a victim, or you see just a hand and then they kill someone. It makes it more elaborate, and when compared to other slashers at the time, I guess Halloween did it 2 years prior to this with Michael killing Judith, but still, this film has more of those sequences, and it's not really until the last 25 minutes actually to we get our first look at our killer, who of course is Pamela, and it's actually pretty cool actually. I didn't mind that because maybe at the start it might seem annoying, like why are you not getting to see the killer's face, but that makes it more interesting, that makes it more mysterious, and it makes you kind of think and intrigued in all of this, like, who is this? Like, obviously, I mean, it's 2025, you already know who the killer is, probably before going into this, but in 1980, if you think about it, that was actually a pretty smart thing to do. Not show the killer's face until the end. Pamela, who serves as the main killer in this film, is a decent antagonist. From her innocent look on the outside, as like just a middle-aged woman in a jumper, that's revealed to be a psychotic hell-bent killer that's setting all the camp counselors dying for revenge. I think Betsy Palmer did a pretty good job portraying the mother of Jason. I mean, she is... I think she's actually a pretty iconic actress. I looked her up. So, yeah, seeing her in this kind of role, which I'm sure was pretty different to her previous ones, was pretty nice and interesting. I mean, she did a good job of, like, portraying Pamela as someone who's gone insane, pretty much. Because throughout the film, she was just seen talking to herself, thinking she was Jason, and that was like a nice touch, basically leading men to think she's gone insane. I think she has, ever since Jason died, and that's pretty interesting. And Alice Hardy as the final girl was alright too. She was smart enough actually to hide and flee from the killer, something that teenage girls don't do enough in slasher films, and especially in direct confrontation with the killer. And her picking up the machete and giving a clean swipe at Pamela's head, decapitating her, was obviously the iconic bit at the end of the film. And there was a bunch of little chase scenes with Pamela and Alice throughout like the camp. It was pretty fun, I guess. And there's also some fun little kills throughout this film with some gore thrown in. It's definitely pretty dated looking now, but it's still pretty funny nonetheless. I like the one where it's just there's a person on the hammock and then Pamela is underneath and grabs him by the head and just thrusts the knife through his neck and then blood just starts spurting out. That's pretty funny. Or even the I thought the axe to the head in the cabin was pretty cool as well. There was a couple of fun kills actually. This film does offer plenty of funny stuff. My negatives, right, so we've talked a lot about positives, let's talk about some negatives. And my first issue is just, sometimes the pacing. Whilst the film had a solid story and introduction to the franchise and had some decent looking kills in some parts, it just, some bits I didn't really know how to pace itself a bit. So it goes from a bit to nothing, a bit to nothing. So I just felt like it should have been more consistent. Like Halloween, I actually have to give this Halloween, the original Halloween. Halloween was more consistent in through its pacing. Friday the 13th sometimes struggles to, like, you know, be aware where it needs to pick itself up, because it just feels a bit slow and nothing's just happening. You're just watching, like, someone just sit there for, like, a couple, like 10 minutes, and then suddenly, out of nowhere, a kill will happen. It's a bit strange in some places, but if it was fixed, I think it would have been pretty solid. Also, some of the lighting in this film, probably just is it being a 45-year-old film, but it felt really grainy and dark sometimes. I mean, I watched it on Blu-ray, right, but even then I struggled to see some parts of the film in some places, and I just really wish it was fixed, because even, especially in the nighttime scenes, the lighting isn't the greatest, and you're just watching very grainy camera film stuff, and I mean, as I said, it could have been better. I mean, but I guess that's the technology at the time. But they could have at least fixed that a wee bit with maybe, I don't know, having more lights. I don't know, but I think it may, if it's supposed to give it like a realistic look, then I can understand that. But I get that. But I just would have, my preference would have been better lighting. And the characters I kind of did have a lot of issues with. Apart from maybe Alice and Pamela, the rest were just bland and had no personality. They were just there for purely the story, just so they could get killed off. None of them really had personalities, and they're just bland teenagers that just wanted to have sex at the camp and just, you know, instead of actually doing their job, do anything else but that. And so it's pretty funny when they get killed off, but yeah, none of them really are memorable. I feel like a slasher film should have more than one memorable character that is a good guy. So like Scream, for example, Scream's a good example of that. So yeah, this film I feel like could have had a couple more, but the only one I can really remember from this film, I would say even in a couple of years' time, would be Alice, and obviously Pamela, but she's a villain. So Alice, is the only memorable protagonist. I just really wish there was more memorable ones, because it just would have been better, you know, because yeah, a lot of them are bland and it's just really mid. Overall, Friday the 13th, the original from 1980, was a solid and good start to the franchise, and it is a classic in the slasher genre, you have to remember. So I do have to give it a bit of respect for that, because this kind of created what Jason is today, as we know him today, basically, pretty much. So yeah, I will give it a solid 6 out of 10 and 3 stars out of 5. That seems pretty fair. That's kind of on par with the original Halloween for me. I think this is like the same level as the original Halloween. Halloween, in my opinion, is quite overrated, which this might get a bit of hate. But yeah, they're on par pretty much. I do think the action and what was happening in this film was a bit better than Halloween. This had more things going on, but yeah, at the end of the day, I think they're still par. But anyway, yeah, I did enjoy the original Friday the 13th, and this has just got me excited for the rest of the franchise, the sequels. So next time we'll be looking at part 2, of course, where Jason's actually in it as a killer. So that'll be good. Thank you for watching this video, guys. If you did enjoy, please remember to like, comment, share and subscribe if you want to. And that is pretty much it for this video. Until the next one, bye bye.